I hope you're feeling amazing today. Today, we are going to talk about our mid year period. What do I mean by mid year? There is this thing that I love to do, and for a while it was a trend. Nowadays, a lot of people don't do it anymore, which is realizing how you are halfway through the year. And even though I do realize that we're not technically yet in the middle of the year, I do find that I wanted to do this video before my birthday video that will come next week. So, without further ado, we are going to talk about what I am doing month by month, what I have learned in each month, and what I am planning for the future. And if you want to come along for the ride and learn a couple things from me, then stick around and let's get started. So, starting off with January, I think a lot of people start off their year with a list of goals and a bunch of things they want to do. And I won't deny, I also did my thing. I did my mood board of what I wanted to achieve, and I did a list of the things that I wanted to accomplish. And yeah, this is the time now to assess those. And I even am peeking at them because they're right there because I didn't do a lot of them because life got in the way. The reality here when you are a college student and you work and it's also during the height of the season. When I mean height of the season is because for those that aren't aware, but if you work in retail, pretty much forget resting during December and January, at least in the first half of January. And I was feeling really tired. I was feeling really exhausted. And at the same time, also exam season started to happen. So I had so many things going on. So it's really hard when you have so many things going on and so many things in your plate for you to do the objectives that you're looking for. And one key takeaway that I took out of January is understanding that sometimes, even in the midst of all of that, you need to take a break and give some time for yourself because by the end of January, I was extremely burned out. I felt like my brain wasn't functioning and I was just spiraling out of control. So, the key takeaway from January, the lesson from January is take a break from time to time before you burn out. So, on to February. So, February was a really interesting month because I wasn't as full of things from work because I took 2 weeks off and I was able to rest before college started. So it felt really good. I was able to go out and have some fun and rest a bit and sleep in. And I was finally able to refresh my brain. But one thing that it hit me really hard during that time was also the realization that I wasn't going to have the same teachers, I wasn't going to have the same information, that I had to absorb new information. So it made me really scared and really fearful of what was coming. And I had to have this moment of rest before I started because I truly was terrified of what was coming. But it was so good once I actually started and everything started to just click and it felt more normal. I feel like when you start college, you have this immense fear of what it could be, how is it going to be, how what kind of colleagues you're going to have, the experiences you're going to get. And then once you're already into it and you have the next semester and then the next year and then all that, I feel like it just becomes more and more normal and more natural. And that's exactly how I felt. Once I actually started and I had my first week, I was like, oh, this is normal. This is fine. Like we're good. And yeah, that was a really big lesson that I have is realize that I need to take time for myself and just reflect. So in March, I had a really low dip in my mental state. I was having a really hard time coping with a lot of things. And it kind of came from, well, it kind of came from a couple of things that were happening. I was becoming more and more serious about social media, but I didn't know how to do it, how to deal with it. And then at the same time, I felt more and more lost when it came to work because my management at the time switched for a while. So there was also this innate fear of, um, do I belong? Am I doing this right? Does this make sense? And having all these questions go on and on and on, I definitely went on a down spiral where I was even, I would say, kind of toxic towards my family and my friends and even my dogs. Like, I would be quite short in my answers. I wouldn't particularly say rude because I wasn't being rude. I just needed to be alone. I needed to kind of be with myself. And the reality here, when you start changing and you start to become more outgoing because you want to hang out with people and be more social, when all of a sudden you have this low moment of yourself and you find yourself having this difficulty in connecting with yourself, you kind of go inward. And the issue with going inward is that sometimes the people in your social sphere, they get shut off for a while. And even with my dogs, and I'm laughing because my dog is right here. Um, it's a really hard time for you to even like connect and want to pet your dog and take him out for a walk. You kind of do it out of habit, not because you innately wish to do it. I hanged out with family out of habit, not because I innately wanted to do it. I spend more time alone. I would get out of the table quicker than everyone else. So that led me down that temporary path where I needed to go inwardly. And in a way, that was good because now I feel a lot better and I feel more confident within myself. So, April. April was, I'm even looking at it because, oof. So, April was interesting because I dealt with quite a bit during the month of April. During the month of April, a couple things happened, and those things just culminated into basically an anxiety slash panic attack. So I had my sister's birthday, which was the high moment of the month. Then, as the month progressed, I kept getting sicker and sicker and sicker. I just got sick and then did a round of antibiotics, and then not even a week and a half later, I got sick again. And then while I was sick at home, I had my whole life just turn upside down, basically. For those that have been following me for long enough, you'd know that my Instagram account got hacked. We're talking about an Instagram account that I had since the beginning. This account had, I would say, around 10, it was around 10 years old. I was getting a good traction. I was producing content. Um, I had at the time 150 followers. Even if it didn't felt like they engaged often, it still was a reasonable number. And basically, overnight, I found myself losing my account. It was a job of a professional. It was not an amateur that did it, because in the past when I had amateurs trying to break into my account, they did it the typical way, which is trying to break in, but because I had a two-step authentication, they would never be able to do it because I could block it. But whoever did it, they were able to bypass the two-step authentication and get into my account. And they did it at 4 o'clock in the morning while I was asleep, but I only got the notification that it happened at 12 o'clock. So we're talking about quite a couple hours after I was awake that I realized. And that's because I am not someone that goes on my phone right away in the morning. So when I went to my account and all of a sudden I couldn't open, I was like, oh, did I got logged out? Maybe did an update during the night. And when I tried to log back in, that's when I got all the floodings of like, this, you change your email to this random email. And I was like, good Lord. Random email that didn't even have a tracing. I filed all complaints that I could. Never heard back from Meta, never heard back from Facebook or Instagram. They never said anything. They stayed quiet as a mouse. And nowadays, I have the new account that you guys have heard and seen multiple times. And it was a really hard hit thinking that all the work that I had done just went down the drain, which is why now I feel more tired because now I feel like I really need to commit to actively posting every day, doing my analytics, trying to figure out everything that I could ever do to understand how my content is going and trying to cater to you guys. And unfortunately, that also means that I feel so much more full, not only from like feeling excited and doing more stuff, but also like of time. Like I feel like my time is like has to be very well planned out so that I don't miss anything, basically. And so far during this new revamp, I have only missed one episode of the podcast because I was heavily sick with basically an infection on my throat, and it was so bad that I couldn't speak, and I had a really high fever during the time, so I couldn't even record whatsoever. But the lesson in all this is that sometimes a restart doesn't mean starting from zero. It just means starting again. So on to May. So May was interesting. May was interesting because so many weeks of finals, of doing so many work assignments and doing school assignments and turmoils at work and turmoils within myself because we're 1 month before my birthday, before I turned 30, the big 3-0. And whether I like it or not, there is this societal pressure of when you turn 30. A lot of people don't realize that if you are in the typical social sphere, you will find yourself getting a little angry at what people believe to be the new idea of 30. Because before, the idea of 30 is that you'd be married with kids and your life all together. And here I am defying all the odds. I don't have my life together. I work a part-time job that barely pays bills. I am pretty much, I wouldn't say a full-time creator, but definitely a part-time creator. I do full-time schooling. I don't do college in part-time. I do it in full-time. And at the same time, I am a daughter, a granddaughter, a sister, a dog owner, and I have all these roles that I want to fulfill. And in the midst of all of that, I have myself. I have my own person. I have my own identity, my own way of seeing the world. I just simply hope every single day for me to be the best that I can be. And in the midst of all of the craziness of the world, that at the end of the day, I still come back to myself and I focus on what I want, what I wish, and what I desire. Because in the end of the day, the only person that I need to care for and look at and assess is myself. Because if I don't fill up my own cup, I can't fill anyone else's. So June. So for you guys to have an idea, I'm looking at the clock at the calendar right now. It is June 6th as of recording this episode, and life is insane. I am still working. I am also in exam season. So, exam season is that time of the year where every single student just wants to rip their eyeballs out and their hands are cramping and our brains are hurting. So, having a hard time. And at the same time, I need to somehow record the podcast and do reels and do TikToks and do all of that. And sometimes it's complicated. Sometimes you find yourself thinking when you have the time. And I find myself every single day wondering, do I have the time? Should I give something up? And I'll be honest, recently I did. I used to go to a gym that I really enjoyed, but financially it was just not worth it anymore. I wasn't going enough times because of my schedule. I felt like I was paying for something that I wasn't taking advantage of. So I came to the decision of just simply canceling my membership and working out from home like I used to. I have all the equipment, I don't need to buy anything else. And I rather go down that route because I feel like that way I have no excuse. I can just pop in and do a 10-minute session, do a YouTube video, do a dance party, and I'll still have the same amount of movement, if not more, because I am doing it at home and I can do it before I go to work. I can do it after I come back from work. I can do it right after I come back from school or before I go to school, and I don't need to justify how long I take to anyone, and I don't need to be paying rivers of cash to have access to something that I already have at home. And this is also my birth month. I literally have my birthday in 10 days, which is kind of insane. Am I ready to turn 30? I just see it as a number. I think for a couple years of my life, I saw 30 as this milestone, when nowadays I see it as like just another number, because milestones, we can do them every day and we can do them every month and every year. They aren't specified by a particular age. And I feel like I am happier with the turning 30 than I thought I was going to be, because I feel so connected to myself and so fulfilled in my journey that I feel like I'm happier turning 30 than I was turning 25. Because at 25, I definitely did not have it all together. And I definitely was lost in the world. So, about the rest of the year, what are we doing? What are we planning? Gosh, okay. The podcast is not going anywhere. I think that's an obvious weekly podcast. You definitely can expect it all the time on Tuesdays. That's never gonna change. What's gonna change? So social media, I am getting more and more focused with it. And that means that content is getting better. I'm getting more focused with it. I do plan on bringing a special series on Instagram. So stay tuned for that. It's currently on the plannings and on the works, but it's still in pre-production. It's not in production or post-production. It's currently in pre-production, but do stay tuned to that. I do want to figure out if it's possible for me to vlog. So I was thinking about, besides the podcast on YouTube, to also have a second video going up, which would be either a daily vlog or a weekly vlog, where I would show you a little bit of my life. Or if you don't want to have it as a long format, would you like it in a short format on Instagram? I would totally love to hear it. Also, I am on Threads. Threads is really, really nice because it makes it a lot quicker for me to comment to people, because it's really, really easy to get a notification and go on there. So you could also check out my threads. Um, and since we're talking about social media, I'll tell you where you can find me. So you can find me with the same name. I am Karina S. Franco. And you can find me on Instagram, TikTok, Threads. You also have my Facebook page, which, to be honest, is just a reposting spot for me. You can find me here on YouTube and Spotify in video format, and also you can find me on Apple Music and Amazon Music in audio format. And in the meantime, what am I planning? I want to focus more on my health. I want to focus more on my diet. I want to be more aware of what I eat. I want to be more aware of my body movements. I want to have more moments of focusing on myself and focusing on what I need emotionally. I want to have days where I just spend time with my family and friends and with my doggies. And I just want to have lots of fun and just enjoy life day by day. I don't think I have anything specifically planned, but I think my current goal right now is definitely passing exam season and, passing the first year because I really want to. And my dog is doing noises. Shall we get a little peek? So this is my cute little puppy Sienna. She has been here the whole time. She is trying not to bark, which is why my hand has been down this whole video, is because I've been petting her to keep her quiet. Because at every little noise, her little yapper goes off. And I just wanted to be really honest and say that we must honor the in between. We must have fun with life and don't take all this so seriously, because we all go through ups and downs and we all go through moments that sometimes makes life difficult, and just honor the fact that you are human and that one month can be hard, one month can be easy. And what matters is that by the end of the year, you have created some sort of change that became a lasting effect in your life in some sort of way. And while I have her here being nice and quiet, I'm going to wish you a wonderful week, a wonderful day. And I'll see you next week. Bye bye. Say bye.